You might be asking yourself, after reading the title of this video, what does a superhero who swings around fighting crime with web have in common with a candy tycoon who builds rivers of chocolate? Simple, they're both men, which honestly explains about half their bad decisions. No, but seriously, it's not about the characters themselves, but about how the actors and directors shaped them across different iterations. Both Spider-Man and Willy Wonka went through 3 different cinematic versions, and strangely enough, they followed almost the exact same arc. For Spider-Man, we're talking Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland. For Willy Wonka, we're talking Gene Wilder in 1971, Johnny Depp in Tim Burton's 2005 version, and Timothée Chalamet in 2023. I believe these 2 franchises, one about webs and crime fighting, the other about chocolate and childhood dreams, mirror each other almost exactly in their storytelling evolution. Don't believe me? Too good to be true? Let me know in the comments before you finish the video. If I convince you at least one of these is parallel, then, I don't know, subscribe or something. Sorry, I'm new at this whole YouTube thing. Anyways, let's dig in. The first versions of both characters captured the heart of their original source material. In 1971's Willy Wonka with Gene Wilder is Wonka. He's whimsical, mischievous, a little scary, but ultimately magical. He's like that teacher who lets you eat snacks in class, but you're never sure if he's joking when he says one of them might be poisoned. When he sings, "Come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination," you really believe him.
Hold your breath. Make a wish. Count to 3. Come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look and you'll see into your imagination.
Wilder's Wonka is an imaginative showman who actually loves people when they aren't bratty kids, that is. 2002 Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker feels ripped straight out of a comic panel. He's awkward, nerdy, constantly bullied. His high school is peak early 2000s cliques, stereotypes, and hallway fight that apparently no teachers ever stop. Tobey is the perfect pushover kid, which makes his transformation into Spider-Man feel earned. Honestly, the most unrealistic part of Tobey's Parker isn't the radioactive spider. It's that he still has friends at all.
Hey, look at that spider. Some spiders change colors to blend into their environment. It's a defense mechanism. Peter, what makes you think I would want to know that? Who wouldn't?
Both first films nailed the essence of their characters. Wonka and Spider-Man are larger than life, but still human, still relatable, and their stories feel magical without over-explaining. This is where things get weird. In 2005's Willy Wonka, starring Johnny Depp, directed by Tim Burton took a very different approach. Depp's Wonka is unsettling, socially awkward, reclusive, and kind of creepy. Every time he smiles, you're not sure if he's about to hand you a chocolate bar or put himself on a government watch list. Even the world feels off. Instead of practical sets, we get CGI-heavy candy rooms that feel fake and plastic. Unlike the 1971 version, where the chocolate factory feels like a magical working place, this one feels like it was designed on Windows XP. It's not like this is something that you get in the middle of the movie, or even the end, when the kids are being taken out by their own obvious shortcomings, and you have settled into the movie. It's right in the beginning. The first scenes, when the credits are rolling down, they show the chocolate factory making chocolates, but it's all in CGI. It feels gross and icky, and a bastardization of what the movie is all about. Honestly, the whole thing does. Sorry for cursing. I really don't know what the policies on YouTube are, but I just can't help myself with this stupid movie. If you can refrain yourself, please do not tattle on me. Anyways, then there's Wonka's tragic backstory with his dentist father. Burton thought, you know what this fun, magical story means? Childhood trauma. Spoiler, it really did not. Explaining the magic killed the magic. We did not need to know that Willy Wonka is a troubled somebody who's just revolting against his father. That makes everything he does seem straight sad and strange, which, with Johnny Depp's acting...
Good morning, Starshine.
The Earth says hello.
We got the idea. This movie did not feel like Willy Wonka was sharing the secrets and beauty of his work to those he thinks are innocent and kind people, to finally see that Charlie is the purest and most deserving to carry his work forward. No, it feels as if Willy Wonka was caught up in tax fraud or possibly pedophilia, and he needed someone to pawn off his company so they take the fall for his errors. He feels like he hates all of them and people in general, even Charlie. The first half hour of Tim Burton's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory almost feels like the world's most elaborate prank. Like Charlie's whole family is secretly performing a play just for him. Think about it. The entire first act takes place inside that crooked little house that looks more like a set piece than a home. The walls lean, the colors are drained, and there's barely a glimpse of the outside world. It's as if reality stops at their front door. Everyone inside acts just a little too cheerful, a little too rehearsed. Grandpa Joe cracks jokes with sitcom timing. Charlie's mom delivers lines like she's on a 1950s stage play about making do. And all the grandparents move and speak in unison like a Greek chorus of blankets. It creates this eerie sense that they're performing property rather than living it. Like they're trying to convince Charlie, and maybe themselves, that everything's okay. So when Charlie finally steps outside to buy his chocolate bar, it feels like a moment of escape. Not just from poverty, but from the illusion of his family's world. The lighting suddenly shifts. There's motion, there's sound, and for the first time, you see life beyond the cramped performance space of that house. Burton does this intentionally. He's not showing realism, he's showing emotional architecture. The Bucket family's home isn't supposed to feel real. It's a dollhouse of denial where optimism is performed to keep despair at bay. And when Charlie finally enters Wonka's factory, it's like stepping from one fake world into another. The difference is that the factory's fantasy is external, bright, mechanical, candy-coated, while the family's fantasy was internal, sweet lies told to survive. Burton makes both equally artificial, and that's what makes his version so unsettling. It's not a story about discovering magic. It's a story about realizing the world's been pretending all along. I can go on and on about how bad this movie. It's terrible, and I feel bad for any child who... All right, moving on. So 2012's The Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield. Now, one thing that is different between the two is that I do not abhor this movie or find it as destructive as Johnny Depp's Willy Wonka, but it has the same exact shift to character and story for the specific character and story that it's involved with. Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man in the Amazing Spider-Man series represents a stark tonal shift from the everyman Peter Parker we saw in Tobey Maguire's trilogy. While Maguire's Peter was the quintessential bullied science nerd, awkward and painfully relatable, Garfield's portrayal leans heavily into the archetype of the confident, attractive, almost effortlessly cool skater boy with a devoted online fan base, something that contemporary culture often idolizes on platforms like Tumblr and early Instagram. Within the first 20 minutes of The Amazing Spider-Man, Garfield's Peter swings into action, asserting dominance over bullies in a way that removes the vulnerability that was central to Maguire's character arc. He's already physically capable, assertive, and socially adept, which undermines the from underdog to hero trajectory that makes Spider-Man compelling in the comics. This tonal change manifests in several ways. First, Peter's social interactions are noticeably different. In classic Spider-Man narratives, Parker's nerdiness is a lens through which the audience experiences high school life. The awkward crushes, the teasing, the small victories over adversity. Garfield's Peter, however, immediately courts Gwen Stacy with confidence and charm, flipping the typical power dynamic on its head. Scenes like the library confrontation or rooftop date exude charisma rather than the stammering, anxious awkwardness we expect from a teenage Peter. This not only diminishes the narrative tension, but also makes his subsequent heroism feel less earned. The struggle against social marginalization is largely absent. Second, the film shifts his moral and social compass. Whereas Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is painstakingly shaped by the famous adage, with great power comes great responsibility, Garfield's version leans into mischief and rebellion. Early in the film, we see Peter using his powers not only for heroics, but also to prank the police and embarrass the school bully. While this aligns with the trickster element present in the comics, it is executed without the underlying ethical weight that grounded Maguire's version. The result is a Spider-Man who is fun and flashy, but lacks the moral gravitas and relatability that the original film successfully instilled. Now you may say that it's because it's earlier in the film, and he eventually matures. However, as you can see at the end, when he is told by Gwen's father, who passes away. Spoiler, sorry, if you haven't seen the movie, that is on you, especially if you're watching this video. Regardless, if you look at that and see how he reacts to her father saying that you can't date his daughter, he eventually comes around to it without much pushing or prodding. All it took was Gwen Stacy looking at him in class. Shows a lot of immaturity and a lack of focus on great power comes great responsibility. Even Garfield's physical portrayal contributed to this disconnect. While the actor's lanky frame and youthful energy are commendable, his athleticism and stylized parkour skills made Peter seem almost preternaturally capable from the start. In contrast, Maguire's clumsy, hesitant Peter made every victory, from stopping a robbery to the iconic upside-down kiss, feel hard-won and deeply satisfying. This too competent, too early issue lessened the tension and emotional stakes for viewers, making the narrative progression feel rushed. And this was both with the emotional weight in terms of how charismatic and able he was to be able to woo Gwen Stacy, and also this physical ability from the start. Both of these middle entries misunderstood the core. Burton's Wonka became creepy instead of whimsical. Garfield's Spider-Man became cool instead of awkward. Even though they both went in the opposite direction, they both changed the core aspect of the character because both directors tried to clearly reinvent the whole feeling of the story and the story itself without changing the story. The story is the same. They might have different villains, especially with Wonka, the story stays exactly the same. However, in an attempt to come across as different and in chasing different, they lost the soul, leaving a hollowed out carcass in their stead for us to look at sadly. Here's the fun part. Both third series revived the essence of the original while adding something fresh. In 2023's Wonka, starring Timothée Chalamet, directed by Paul King, instead of simply retelling Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the 2023 Wonka filmmakers chose to go backward, crafting a full origin story for the eccentric chocolatier. This choice alone marks a significant departure from the 1971 Gene Wilder classic and the 2005 Tim Burton interpretation. Whereas the earlier films focused on the adult Wonka as an already established figure, mysterious, quirky, and magical, Chalamet's portrayal situates the audience in Wonka's formative years, allowing us to see how his optimism, creativity, and entrepreneurial spirit were cultivated. From the very first scenes, Chalamet's Wonka is defined by his dreamer's mindset. He is curious, inventive, and persistent despite the constraints of his social and economic environment. Unlike Depp's version, which leaned into a socially awkward, almost unsettling persona, Chalamet is inherently charming, approachable, and imaginative, making him instantly relatable for modern audiences. His optimism is not naive, it is hard-earned. Every invention, from experimental chocolate recipes to fantastical candy prototypes, highlights his willingness to fail, learn, and iterate. A narrative arc that mirrors the real-life journey of an entrepreneur. One of the most impressive aspects of the 2023 Willy Wonka is how it revitalizes the essence of the original 1971 film while still feeling fresh. Gene Wilder's Wonka was beloved for his balance of whimsy, charm, and unpredictability, a character who was magical yet grounded in human curiosity and play. Chalamet captures that same spark of imagination and wonder. The Chocolate Factory is still a fantastical playground. Candy comes to alive, inventions behave unpredictably, and the sense of discovery is palpable. This mirrors the magic of the original, giving audiences the joy of stepping into a world where creativity is celebrated above all else. At the same time, the film modernizes that magic by embedding it in the character's personal growth and resilience. Unlike the 2005 Burton and Johnny Depp version, which focus on darkness and social awkwardness, the 2023 Wonka positions creativity as a tool to overcome obstacles. Wonka's inventions are not just magical spectacles, they are the result of trial, error, and persistent experimentation. This shift retains the imaginative spirit of Wilder's Wonka, but frames it in a contemporary lens. Creativity as problem-solving and determination as a path to achieving one's dreams. The narrative also reinforces the original themes of optimism and ethical integrity. Chalamet's Wonka is playful but responsible, imaginative but ethical. In doing so, the film reasserts the moral and emotional resonance of the 1971 classic, showing that innovation and whimsy can coexist with empathy and integrity. Supporting characters are used strategically to highlight aspects of Wonka's personality. Mentors inspire innovation. Rivals provide obstacles that test his perseverance, and his young companions reflect the audience's wonder and curiosity. Visually, the film strikes a balance between practical effects and CGI, creating a tangible, immersive factory environment that feels alive and creative, in contrast to Burton's CGI-heavy, sterile world. In short, the 2023 Wonka succeeds because it revitalizes the essence of the original while modernizing it for contemporary audiences. Chalamet's Wonka is neither creepy nor detached. He is a dreamer who turns creativity into action. The film celebrates entrepreneurship, optimism, and perseverance, proving that the heart of Wonka, his imagination, moral integrity, and charm can be preserved while expanding his story in exciting and meaningful ways. Tom Holland's Spider-Man reinvigorates the character by bringing back the fun and relatability that were sometimes missing in the previous iteration. Unlike Andrew Garfield's confident, almost too cool Peter Parker, Holland's version is young, awkward, and constantly screwing up, tripping over his own words, getting embarrassed in front of friends, and learning the hard way that being a hero isn't easy. This vulnerability is central to Spider-Man's appeal. It reminds the audience that despite his powers, Peter is still a teenager dealing with universal struggles like school, friendship.
Join me and together we'll build my new Lego Death Star. What? So lame. No way, that's awesome. How many pieces? 3,803.
And first love. One of the most significant narrative changes is how the MCU handles the pivotal emotional loss in Peter's life. Instead of Uncle Ben's death defining him immediately, as in both Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's films, the MCU shifts his weight to Aunt May, whose death occurs in Spider-Man No Way Home. This choice not only freshens the emotional arc, but also allows audiences to invest in Peter's journey without feeling the story is overly familiar or tragic from the outset. The delayed impact of loss gives the character a longer, more dynamic period to grow and make mistakes, creating a more nuanced and emotionally resonant Spider-Man. Beyond personal development, the MCU expands the scope of Spider-Man's world in ways the previous series never attempted. Holland is not confined to solo New York street-level battles. He interacts with the broader Marvel universe, appearing in films like Captain America: Civil War, and fighting alongside the Avengers. This expansion gives the story more stakes and variety. His decisions ripple across a connected universe, adding layers of tension, humor, and excitement. Scenes like teaming up with Iron Man, or confronting multiverse villains like Jamie Foxx's Electro in No Way Home demonstrate that Spider-Man is part of something much bigger than himself. As Electro remarks, "Man, I like it here." The films emphasize the positive, almost celebratory nature of the MCU. Spider-Man's world is vast, interconnected, and full of possibilities. Crucially, this expanded universe also allows Holland's Spider-Man to maintain his relatability. He remains awkward and imperfect while navigating extraordinary situations, blending humor, youthful enthusiasm, and heroism. The contrast with the darker, more brooding tone of Garfield's series is stark. The MCU version has a brighter, more optimistic feel, blending high-stakes superhero action with grounded character moments. This balance, humor, relatability, and large-scale adventure revitalizes Spider-Man for modern audiences while staying true to the heart of the character. In short, Tom Holland's Spider-Man succeeds because the MCU gives him room to grow emotionally, connect with a larger universe, and retain the awkward, lovable qualities that make Peter Parker relatable. By delaying tragedy, expanding his world, and maintaining his youthful charm, the films create a version of Spider-Man that is both fun, deeply human, and excitingly heroic that makes you nostalgic for the first films. Both Chalamet's Wonka and Holland's Spider-Man bring back the heart, avoid the mistakes of the second films, and expand the universe in new ways. They prove reinvention works best when you preserve the core but give us a fresh angle. So, to recap, here's the full arc. First films capture the true heart of the character. Then the second films twist them too far into different territory, losing what made them special. Third films restore the magic, avoid past mistakes, and show them in a new light. Now, why did the second movies go so wrong? Here's my theory. Mark Webb's The Amazing Spider-Man had a clear hypothesis. By the 2010s, audiences didn't want a dorky science nerd with bad posture. They wanted a cooler, more confident Spider-Man. So Webb reimagined Peter Parker as a moody skater with a hoodie, great hair, and a quiet, rebellious streak. It made sense for the time. The early 2010s were peak gritty reboot culture, when every superhero needed a darker edge and a tragic past. But in chasing that cool factor, something essential slipped away. The character stopped feeling like a real underdog and started feeling like a studio's idea of what a marketable teen superhero should be. He was stylish, clever, and brooding, but not particularly relatable. In trying to make Spider-Man cooler, they made him less human. Tim Burton's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory takes a different approach. Burton's hypothesis seemed to be that Willy Wonka's mystery wasn't enough anymore, so he decided to explain it. On paper, that's not a bad idea. Wonka of 2023 proves an origin story can work beautifully when it reveals a character's heart. But Burton's version roots Wonka's eccentricity in trauma, an overbearing dentist father, a lonely childhood, and candy as rebellion. The result? The magic starts to feel clinical. When you explain wonder through pain, it stops feeling wondrous. Both directors assumed reinvention meant changing the essence. In reality, reinvention works best when you preserve the essence, but show it in a new light. So yeah, Willy Wonka and Spider-Man are basically cinematic twins. One spins webs, the other spins candy. And both teach us that sometimes you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just need to add a new gear that makes it go somewhere it's never been before. This is just what I've seen and what I think. I'm very curious to know if you agree, disagree, and/or what other movies you would like me to tell you what I think of. I will be trying to post every week going forward, but I can't give any guarantees. So please subscribe to keep up with these videos, which will go into all different types of movies and ideas. Either way, this has been a lit reel. Au revoir.